If you're a 3PL company or a logistics company that's still relying on referrals and word of mouth, this video is for you, right? We work with tons of 3PL companies and they all seem to want one simple thing. That thing is a system that generates qualified leads and buyers and partners that works exactly like a water faucet, right? So when you have capacity for fulfillment, right, you have extra storage space or extra capacity in general, you turn it on and you get leads. But when you're packed, you have the ability to turn it off, right? You have full control over how much of the water comes out, when it comes out, and what comes out in terms of the quality, right? So in this video, I want to show you how you can implement a system that works exactly like a water faucet, right? So you don't have to rely on the feast or famine of referrals and word of mouth and all that, or gamble thousands or tens of thousands of dollars to try and figure out paid ads, right? Or this is the worst of them all, having one of your full-time guys working the phone all day or having to hire someone just to write emails, right? That nobody even reads and doesn't really bring any result. Right. So now why listen to me on this topic? My name is Alex Mikowski. I run Infinite Bookings, which is a lead generation company based here in New Jersey. We've generated thousands of qualified leads in the past 3 years of doing this. And just to give you an example specific to the logistics industry, we were able to generate one of our 3PL clients 52 qualified sales calls and conversations with supplement companies, doing over $50,000 a month, using our strategies. Now, that was like the bare minimum benchmark that we were going for, all within 4 months of working together. So with that being said, let's get into the actual strategy that we use to generate these leads consistently. Also, just a quick heads up, my goal with this channel is to make the highest quality, most relevant B2B lead generation content. So if you found this video useful, send it to a friend who might need help with this. I don't really promote this channel really, so it's the only way that it grows is through word of mouth. So with that being said, let's get right into it. Okay, so there's really 5 parts that this system boils down to, and you've probably heard me say this before, but these steps are like the links of a chain. So every single one of these steps has to be completely optimized for the system as a whole to bring new leads and new revenue consistently. Now, so that you can understand why we split it up into 5 different steps, let me explain the strategy in one sentence over here. So we want to take the same kind of message that it would take you or one of your sales guys, and it would take them 5 to 10 to maybe 15 minutes to write the perfect email to the perfect person with the perfect offer, right? And using AI and automation, we want to replicate that same type of personal and relevant communication to thousands of people every day, hundreds or thousands of people every day, depending on your volume, without lifting a finger, right? Without having to do it manually. Now, the way that we do that is, number one, email infrastructure. So this is how are we sending a lot of emails and not going to spam. Number 2 is contact scraping. So how are we getting in touch with the right person at the right company at the right time? Number 3 is AI personalization, which this is not a make it or break it type of thing. This is an additional effectiveness tip that we always use if necessary to make campaigns more effective. But this is not like a AI personalization will save you, but it is a pretty important thing. Step 4 is the offer and messaging creation, which is basically, okay, what are we going to say to these people, right? How can we stand out from the other 100 people that are offering the same thing as you within these people's inbox? So step 1 through 4 is what we call the outbound emotion, which is basically getting the right person to get the right email at the right time at the right company, right? All of those things become true, and people naturally start to respond to these emails. And the goal there is to convert as many of those positive interested leads into booked demo calls with you. And that's where the lead management process kicks in. Super important, very overlooked part, but we'll go over that. So that's kind of a high level overview. Now to get into a little more specifics about each step here, email infrastructure. This is, like I mentioned, how we're able to send a lot of emails, anywhere from a few hundred emails to, for some clients, we have sent in the past 10,000 emails per day, right? It just really depends on the offer. For 3PLs, you should be good around 1,000 emails a day, depending on what type of volume you're really looking for. Sometimes you can even get away with a few hundred, right? The way that this works is this green box over here is your main domain. So where your email account, your work email account is from, where your website is hosted, everything like that. We don't want to have any affiliation with that, right? What we only do is we forward these secondary domains, which are, for example, like your main domain would be example.com. Your secondary domain would be tryexample.com or onlyexample.com. And then you would put, instead of example, it would be like your company name. And those would forward to your main domain. But off of each of these secondary domains, you can build 2 email accounts, right? So you can go as little as 2 email accounts, or you can go hundreds of email accounts. And that's the beauty of the system, where it's fully customizable to what you need. So each of these secondary domains can build 2 email accounts safely. Each of these email accounts can send 25 emails per day very safely, very reliably for years on end, right? Some of our email accounts we have for literally over 2 years at this point. So that's that. For the email accounts, we use Google Workspace enterprise level accounts. I like to say that those are like the Lamborghinis or the Rolls Royces of email accounts for cold email. They're very high performance driven. And they're very reliable. So I guess maybe not like a Lamborghini or anything, but they are reliable in the sense that, like I mentioned, we've had some for years, right? So that's that. Step 2 is the lead list, which is who are we targeting? Who are we sending this email to? So this really comes down to right company and the right person at the company, right? So we use different e-commerce databases to get the proper companies first and getting their information. So let's say we want to only target supplement companies doing over 100K per month in the US that are using a specific software. We're able to do that, right? We get the company first using those filters, different databases that we have access to, like StoreLeads or Clay. And then we take that and then we analyze, okay, who would it make most sense to reach out to at this company? Is it the logistics manager? Is it the owner at the smaller companies? Is it the operating officer? Whoever it is, we want to know who it is. And we want to get their relevant contact info. So their email, LinkedIn profile, and in some cases, their mobile phone number. And that's what tools like Clay and Apollo and Prospeo and Better Contact and DataBar help us with, right? So a lot of different technologies that go into this, but the main goal is that we have the best possible data that some people aren't even contacting, right? And we're able to use that within our emails and get in touch with those people. So that's step 2. Step 3 is personalization at scale. Now, like I mentioned, a lot of people have this misconception that personalization will save a campaign, which is false, right? If a company at its root is bad and the offer itself is not needed and people aren't currently buying this offer, it's not going to work. AI personalization is not going to help you. But more often than not, we're able to work with 3PL companies that have a good offer, that already have a good track record, have a good reputation, and that's who we want to help, right? So instead of sending, hey, we help e-commerce brands similar to yours grow with proven strategies, right? And it's like a very generic email, not specific at all, very like copy and paste. Like you can send that to basically any e-commerce brand, right? We want to have something a lot more specific and a lot more, how would I say, like relevant, not personalized per se. Like this is personalized, but the main goal is relevancy over personalization every day of the week. So it's more of like a personalized intent-based email, and you can kind of pause the screen and kind of see what the difference here is. But we're really talking to the pains and desires of these people, because the more that you're able to show that you understand these people's pains, these logistics managers' pains, these operating managers' pains, right? The more that they're going to trust you, that you can take them from the pain to the desire, right? Because you understand them. And that's the goal, right? It's specific, real, and human. Step 4, we take all of that together and we create the best possible messaging and email scripts, right? And this is where we craft what the email actually says. So to summarize it, our script writing thesis is very simple. And this is a thing we've coined a few years ago called the thesis of 3, which is basically for a cold email to work and for it to be predictably well written, it has to follow 3 things. It has to be direct, it has to be relevant, and it has to be value-based, right? So it's short, focused on the prospect, and shows how you can solve their real problem, right? not just talk about vanity metrics and sound like every single other email in their campaign or in their inbox, sorry. So before launching any campaign, we run a quick offer and lead magnet workshop to basically get the most interesting and the most unique possible email that actually solves your ICP's problem. So a lot of research goes into this so that we're able to talk to these people's pains and not have generic messaging. All right, so that's step 4. Step 5 is lead management. And a big thing here is speed to lead, right? So when someone replies with interest, timing is everything. So that's why when we get a response to our cold email, we respond within 5 minutes. And we set up that same system for all of our clients. But no matter what, you should be doing this, because hot leads, for example, like if they just responded back to you within 5 minutes or like of now, they're still a hot lead. And hot leads take action quicker. They sign deals quicker. They get on calls quicker. They're more engaged, right? And they trust you more. So speed to lead is everything. We set up the proper systems using AI systems like RevReply, or there's other ones out there as well, to get back to people quickly. So you can get away with using AI, and it usually gets you a really good result using like AI lead management systems. So consistency is key also in follow-up. So the first response should be within 5 minutes. But also, let's say that they don't respond 2 days later, you should be following up with them, right? And that's a system that we also set up. Also, for some clients, some people like it, some people don't. So for some people, we set it up. For others, we don't. But you can also call these people to their mobile phone number, right? So that's also some of the data that we get in step 2 to call these people. Once they respond and are interested, we can book them in right away, and it skyrockets the booking rate, right? And also the trust and everything down there. So once again, the system in one sentence, so that you can understand how it really works, is we want to take the same kind of message that it would take you or your sales guy 10 or 15 minutes to write to the perfect prospect, say the perfect message, write the perfect email at the perfect time. And we want to replicate that using technology, AI, and automation that we have access to at the same type of personal level and relevant communication to hundreds or thousands of people every day, right? And so that's really like the overview of the system. So hopefully that makes sense. Yeah, thanks. All right, so that wraps up the process that is helping 3PLs in today's market with getting consistent lead flow and not having to rely on word of mouth and referrals to grow, right? They're great when they're there, but often than not, they're not reliable, they're not consistent. So if you're looking for someone to install a system like this into your logistics business that actually has your best interests in mind, book a call with me below and we'll see how we can work together. We believe that businesses should own their marketing and not just rent a marketing agency that's charging them $2,000, $3,000, $4,000, $5,000, $10,000 a month. So instead of charging you monthly management fees or you paying us per lead, we build, scale, and optimize a custom outbound system specifically for your company within a 90-day sprint and get it to a point where it's generating the type of leads and the quality of leads that you want at the rate that you want and can handle, right? All for a one-time investment. So if that sounds like something you're interested in, click the link below, schedule a call with me, and we'll see how we can work together. Either way, I hope you gain some sort of value and in some sort of insight from this video. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye-bye.